Welcome back to AIPOP, the podcast where we like to get into those stories that are just fascinating. Today, we're diving into a Hollywood showdown that's got the internet buzzing. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are locked in a legal battle, and it's gotten really messy.
Oh, messy is putting it lightly. We're talking smear campaigns, cryptic jokes, even telecom giants getting dragged in. It's like a real-life soap opera, but with lawyers and subpoenas.
It's wild. And to figure this whole thing out, we're looking at an article from February 18, 2025 in the tribune.com.pk entertainment section. For those who haven't been glued to their screens like we have, let's catch everyone up.
Okay, so Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, both huge names in Hollywood. They're in this legal battle that started over a project they were working on together.
Right, and we don't know exactly what went wrong, but the lawsuit is all about accusations of, misconduct and sabotage from both sides.
Yeah, it's a bit of a he said, she said situation, but now Lively's team is claiming she's the victim of a smear campaign meant to trash her reputation.
And that's where Candace Owens comes in.
Oh yeah, Candace Owens drops this bombshell on Instagram.
I mean, that's kind of her thing, right?
Kind of, yeah. Anyway, she says she has proof that someone from Lively's team has been shopping around HR complaints against Baldoni to all these media outlets like TMZ, the Daily Mail, The Works.
But here's the weird part. She claims these big outlets refuse to publish the complaints.
It is strange, right? You'd think they'd be all over a scandal like this.
Right. Why wouldn't they want to publish potentially juicy gossip about these A-listers? Doesn't add up.
It definitely raises some eyebrows, but here's the thing. We haven't actually seen the complaints themselves.
So what do we actually have to go on?
All we have are these super redacted images that Owens shared, which honestly just makes everything more mysterious.
It's like she's dangling this juicy secret in front of us, but won't let us take a bite.
Exactly. And then, to make things even wilder, Owens claims that after those big outlets wouldn't publish the story, Lively's team went to independent journalists and even, get this, TikTok creators.
Seriously, TikTok. It's a bold move.
Right. It seems pretty desperate, like they were willing to do anything to get these allegations out there, whatever they are.
So it feels calculated, right? Like bypassing traditional media and going straight to the source where things spread quickly, especially someone like Candace Owens involved.
It's definitely a strategy that's got people talking. And it makes you wonder, if these complaints are so bad, why haven't we seen them? Are they real, or is this all just a way to make Baldoni look bad? It's tough to say without all the facts.
So we need to really think critically here and consider everyone's motivations.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone has an agenda, you know?
Before we get too deep into that, let's rewind a bit. When did Candace Owens post this on Instagram?
Her post, the one that really started this whole media frenzy, that was February 16th, 2025, just 2 days before the article we're talking about came out.
And that same day, February 16th, Ryan Reynolds, Lively's husband, he made this super cryptic joke during the SNL 50th anniversary special.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Someone asked him how things were going, and he said, "Great. Why? What have you heard?" And then they cut to Blake Lively in the audience, and her face was just priceless.
That moment went viral instantly. It felt like he was intentionally trying to bring attention to the whole situation, maybe in a playful way, maybe not.
Reynolds is known for being quick-witted and playing with the media, so he could have just been acknowledging the elephant in the room.
Right. But I also wouldn't put it past him to use it to muddy the waters even more and keep everyone guessing.
You never know with him. But honestly, even without that SNL comment, this story is a media goldmine. Two beloved celebrities fighting, accusations flying, and these secret HR complaints that no one has actually seen.
It's a story that taps into our love of celebrity gossip, scandal, and a good old-fashioned mystery.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that it's playing out in real time just adds to the drama.
And as we keep digging into this, we want to remind everyone that we're here to help you make sense of it all. We're not taking sides or spreading rumors, just trying to understand the facts and encourage everyone to think critically.
It's important to form your own opinion based on the evidence, not just what you see on social media.
Exactly. And if you're enjoying this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the AIPOP podcast for more discussions like this one. Okay, now back to the case. This article mentions that if they don't settle, this whole thing goes to trial in May 2026.
Wow, that's a long way off.
It is, which means both sides have plenty of time to strategize and maybe work something out. But before we start speculating about the future, let's try to understand the core of this whole dispute. Those alleged HR complaints against Baldoni.
Right, let's get to the heart of it all.
What are they about? Who filed them, and why are they being kept secret?
Those are the million-dollar questions, aren't they? So we're really trying to get to the bottom of these HR complaints.
Yeah, these mysterious documents that Candace Owens says are so important, but no one's actually seen.
It's like we're trying to solve a puzzle, but someone lost half the pieces. We know Lively's team says she's being smeared, and Owens claims these complaints are out there, but without actually knowing what they say, it's all just guesswork.
It really is like a Hollywood version of he said, she said, but with lawyers and subpoenas and everything.
And that's what makes it so interesting, but also potentially dangerous. We're talking about serious accusations, but we're only getting bits and pieces of information that could be biased or twisted. Owens has her own agenda, and we have to remember that Lively's team might be using these complaints to their advantage in the lawsuit.
So let's try to break this down. Why haven't these complaints been made public? If they're so bad, like Owens says, wouldn't it help Lively to just release them and show everyone what Baldoni's supposedly done?
That's a good question, and there are a few possible reasons why we haven't seen them. First, if they're still being investigated, releasing them could mess up the whole process and hurt both Lively and Baldoni. HR stuff can be really complicated, and it usually needs to be handled privately.
That makes sense. You don't want to just throw accusations around without knowing all the facts.
Right. Another possibility is that the complaints contain information that could be legally risky to publish. What if the allegations are false or misleading? Releasing them could open Lively and her team up to even more lawsuits for defamation.
So they're trying to control the narrative, but also protect themselves legally.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of confidentiality agreements.
Yeah.
It's super common for companies to make employees sign things promising not to share sensitive information, especially when it comes to HR. So even if someone wanted to leak those complaints, they could get in big trouble.
Wow, so even if someone wanted to be a whistleblower, they might not be able to.
Right. It could cost them their job, or even worse.
This is getting more and more like a legal thriller every minute. We've got these secret allegations and hidden documents and powerful people making moves behind the scenes.
It's definitely got that dramatic flair. But we have to remember that these are real people's lives we're talking about, and their reputations are on the line.
You're right. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the story, but we can't forget that this is serious stuff.
So even though we haven't seen the complaints themselves, we can still try to figure out what they might be about based on what Owens has said and what we know about the lawsuit.
Okay, let's put on our detective hats. What are some possibilities?
Well, Owens has hinted that the complaints could be about things like harassment, bullying, or other kinds of misconduct.
And since Lively's team is claiming there's a smear campaign going on, it's possible that the complaints are being used to make Baldoni look bad and hurt his career.
That's definitely a possibility, but we have to remember that these are just allegations, not proven facts. It's entirely possible that the complaints are totally made up or taken out of context.
This is where it gets really tough. Without seeing the documents, it's impossible to know if they're true or what the motivations behind them really are.
You got it. And that's why it's so important to avoid jumping to conclusions. We have to consider all sides of the story and really look at the evidence.
This whole thing really shows how powerful information is and how dangerous misinformation can be, especially in this day and age.
I totally agree. We're constantly flooded with information from everywhere, and it's hard to tell what's real and what's fake. It's more important than ever to be careful about what we believe and where we get our information from.
Well said. And that's what we're trying to do here at AIPOP. We want to give our listeners the tools to figure out what's going on and make up their own minds.
And to encourage people to talk about these things in a thoughtful way.
Speaking of thoughtful, if you're enjoying this deep dive in our exploration of this Hollywood mystery, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to the AIPOP podcast for more conversations like this one. Now let's get back to Candace Owens for a second. Her involvement has definitely added fuel to the fire. We've really dug into these allegations and tried to understand everyone's motivations, but it feels like we're still missing some key pieces of the puzzle.
It's true. It's like we're looking at a blurry picture and trying to guess what's really going on.
And that's what makes this so fascinating. We're all trying to separate fact from fiction and figure out who's really in control here.
It's amazing how a story like this can grab our attention and keep us on the edge of our seats.
But we can't forget that this is more than just entertainment. These are real people with real lives that are being affected by this public battle.
Absolutely. Their careers, their reputations, their relationships, everything is on the line.
It's a reminder that fame and fortune can be a double-edged sword. The higher you climb, the harder you fall.
And in the age of social media, that fall can happen so fast. It's relentless.
Yeah. One mistake, one bad decision, One leaked document and everything can change in an instant.
It's a high-stakes game, for sure, and everyone involved needs to be incredibly careful.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the main things we've learned from this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni saga?
Well, first, I think it shows us the power dynamics in Hollywood. We see how accusations, even if they're not true, can be used as weapons to damage people's careers and reputations.
It's a cutthroat industry where image is everything.
Exactly. And second, this whole situation really highlights how difficult it is to know what's true in the digital age. We're constantly bombarded with information from all sides, and it's hard to separate fact from fiction.
It's like drinking from a fire hose. You have to be really careful about what you believe and where you get your information from.
You got it. And finally, I think this case reminds us that even celebrities are human beings. They have flaws and vulnerabilities just like everyone else.
We put them on pedestals, but they make mistakes and have problems just like the rest of us.
This whole case, with all its twists and turns and hidden truths, it's really a reflection of the human experience just played out on a very public stage.
It's a story that's still being written, and we're all waiting to see what happens next.
What will the truth turn out to be? How will this affect their careers? These are the questions we're all asking.
Only time will tell. But this case definitely shows us that truth can be complicated and that human drama is always captivating.
If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni saga, we encourage you to like this episode and subscribe to the AIPLP podcast for more thought-provoking discussions on all sorts of topics.
We're always exploring new and fascinating stories, and we love having you along for the ride.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery, and remember to keep asking questions, challenging assumptions, and looking at things from different angles.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.